best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you see...
Hello everyone, welcome back to Ask the Treksperts, the show where we answer your questions about Star Trek. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And today Sarah, Adam, and I are here to count down our favorite and least favorite Star Trek movies. We're going to do ranked lists of all of the Star Trek films. This has been requested by a number of people, so I don't have a particular name of anybody because a lot of people have asked us to do this. So, and by a lot I mean like 5 or 6. But folks have asked us to do this, and it's a thing we thought about doing for a long time. One of the kind of obvious topics on the show that we've never covered in our many years of doing Treksperts, and of course lately not as frequently as we used to and we would like, but here's another episode for you, and we're going to try to get back to these a little bit more regularly. Starting with this one, ranking the Star Trek movies. So all 13, we're up to lucky number 13.
Yeah.
How weird it is that Beyond was with lucky number 13. I would have expected, your 13th movie to be really bad, and then I ended up really liking Beyond. So, so let's go ahead and start with whoever wants to begin. What we're gonna do, this differently than we've ever done a list video before, because usually your list videos you'll have things on the list that are not the same as other people's, but this is just we have 13 things and we each have to rank them. So instead of going round robin as we usually do, Sarah says a thing, I say a thing. We're gonna start with one person and they're just gonna count their list down. We're also gonna start with favorite and go to least favorite because the favorites. The big, great movies tend to be the same across the board. Tend to be kind of everybody's favorites.
It's going to be no surprise if we did it backwards to count down to Wrath of Khan.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, just saying.
And that might not be everybody's number one, or it might be. We'll see. And as always, it's important to know that that's not to say that Wrath of Khan must be your favorite, or that your favorite can't be Insurrection. Although I can't fathom why it would be, but that's
it just
fine.
makes you weird.
But you heard it here first, folks. Sarah thinks Insurrection fans are weird, and we are.
But just if they place it above Wrath of Khan,
fans
that's all
of
I'm
F.
saying.
Murray Abraham. I don't know.
So usually we do worst to best because best is often the most exciting thing. I think in this particular case, worst is the most exciting thing to find out. So let's go ahead and get started. Adam, would you like to go first?
Sure, I guess.
Would you like to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna start with Adam.
Okay.
He's going to give us his favorite Star Trek film, going down to his least favorite, and we'll have a little bit of discussion as we go along. Go ahead.
All right, well,
your favorite is
Star Trek 2. No surprise there.
Oh, that was a letdown.
I mean, it's probably, it's the one of the few Star Trek movies I think is actually a good movie, period, and stuff, so...
And the one that a lot of people would consider like a science fiction canon movie,
right,
or even
exactly.
a canon movie. I think a lot of people would probably put that on their top 100
definitely
lists of anything. Yeah.
I guess number 2 I have is Star Trek 4. I've always liked Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
I just like the interplay between the characters, and also it's just, for me, it was special because that was like the first Star Trek thing I ever saw, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I saw it on USA Network or something like that, yeah.
So, did you have any family that was into Star Trek?
My dad watched it back in the 60s, the original series and stuff, but not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got into Star Trek because of my dad, and I couldn't tell you where I began. It was always there.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I don't think you've ever mentioned that.
Yeah.
Or especially on camera.
Yeah,
I didn't know you had a. This is where I started.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw Star Trek 6, my parents rented it or it was on HBO or something, but I barely remember. It was just kind of this vague thing that I kind of remember a memory of. But that was the first definitive Star Trek thing I sat down and watched.
Yeah, and another thing that was really accessible to all audiences and even people that didn't really know very much about Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. It was probably the most accessible.
Yeah, and besides Wrath of Khan, I mean, because that movie, as an action movie, which is weird because it's not super action heavy, but it feels like an action movie. As an action movie, as a dramatic film, and as a science fiction film, it was a thing that was really accessible that everybody watched. But I think Voyage Home had that for comedy.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it was one of the really good comedies.
Right.
That came out that decade.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Star Trek 6. I've always liked Star Trek 6. I liked. It seemed like the stakes were higher in that one than some of the other ones, just because it shaped things on down the line in the canon too. And
retroactively explain some TNG stuff.
And I liked it. It made a good use of like all of the crew and stuff, so it wasn't just focused on a few people and stuff. Everybody.
I don't know if it makes good use of all.
Well, I mean, they all got to have little moments and stuff. More so.
Some of them got to have dumb moments that are some of their worst moments in the movies, or at least that's what Sarah would say.
That is not number 3.
Like Uhura translating with books.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
That's
kind of stupid.
That's really stupid. That's all. So, speaking of stakes, if I had to bet money, that's what I would have thought your top 3 would be.
Yeah.
You put all the Meyer written movies together.
Right. And my number 4 is actually Star Trek 3, which I don't know. I've always thought it was an underrated Star Trek movie.
I think so too.
I've always liked it. I mean, it's they obviously did not have a huge budget when they made it and stuff, but I've always enjoyed.
It's one of the things I like about it is what they're able to get away with.
Right.
And in some ways, I think it kind of like Beyond, like it looks a little bit more like a TV episode.
Right. And
I don't know if you agree with that, but like when we get on that planet,
and stuff. And I like the planet. I thought they did a good job making it look alien, even though it's just a set and stuff.
And that is a TOS grudge fight, right? Like,
yes. At the end. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to say he even does the drop kick in that fight.
I think he does. Yeah. Which I don't think would have a lot of force to do that in real life, but I don't know. It looks cool.
Maybe we should do a series on Treksperts of reviewing fight moves. Yeah, we should do a review of the drop kick, or like a breakdown of like whether or not this is a thing. Like, is a Lirpa an effective weapon? Yeah. Is a
the Lirpa the one that looks like canvas?
You know what a Lirpa is?
Yeah, but which one? I always get them confused. Which one's the Lirpa? Is that the one that's
no Amic time?
I know, but which one is it?
No, it's the curve.
The curved blade one.
Yeah.
Well, they also have the one that they swing around.
Right, I don't know what that's called.
Okay.
But I'm surprised you didn't know that was the Lirpa, though.
I couldn't remember. I always get them confused.
Right. No, I just get excited.
Woo, that's another one.
Whenever there's anything I know that he doesn't, I get really excited. Anyway, okay, what's your number 5?
Number 5 is... Oh, crap.
Are you trying to memorize it?
Yeah, I closed that on me. Uh-oh. There it is. Number 5, I had Star Trek First Contact, which used to be a lot...
Sometimes the simplest technology is the best.
A lot higher.
Did you say First Contact?
It used to be higher for me, but it's kind of gone down over the years as I've watched it more and stuff. I still enjoy it. It's still, obviously the best of the Next Generation movies and stuff, but I don't know. Some things are kind of silly in it and stuff. But,
and there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And of course, my biggest issue, and we've talked about this a lot, is just that it kind of ruins the board.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole board queen and everything.
Yeah. Just to give it a face. Again, in an attempt to make a TV thing that is scary because of, not just because of what it looks like, but because of your fear of becoming that. So it's scary on an intellectual level. Trying to make that accessible by giving it a face.
Right.
I think the
I like them better when they were
scary enough. I think any audience that's really paying attention would look at me. That's mortifying.
Right.
Just the idea of the collective consciousness where you are now a body part as opposed to
and they're like a faceless
own
mass, They have no. That's just they're just like a force. Like what didn't somebody say? They're like a force of nature.
Yeah. Which is also a classic science fiction idea that you might lose your individuality to technology.
Exactly.
That's already scary.
And especially since it didn't take all that long in the TV show for that idea to come across. It's not like they had to take 5 episodes to pound us over the head with, oh look, the Borg are scary.
Right.
We kind of got the idea.
From the first episode they were in,
And I know we have pounded this to the ground because we did a whole episode years ago about the Borg Queen and issues we have with the Borg Queen. But can I just throw this out there?
Mm-hmm.
By their second episode, Best of Both Worlds, the Borg already have a face. It's Locutus.
Exactly.
And we didn't have to ruin what they seem to be by making it a hive. By making it beehive. All you got to do is have somebody else be the speaker for the Borg in that movie. I never thought of that.
Also, they completely ignored...
I'm not saying you have to do Locutus again, but...
They completely ignored what happened to the Borg and Descent
Yeah.
and Iborg and stuff, so...
Which, I mean, is sort of okay. I would...
I mean, it was...
I'm not for retconning things, but
Right.
I that's a thing that I don't know how you
get beyond that.
how you get beyond it exactly. But anyway, well, what's your next one?
Next one is I put Star Trek the motion picture, but it also could be Star Trek Beyond. I had a hard time deciding on this one, but I'll just go Star Trek motion picture first. I mean, it looks really good, and but let's be honest, it's just a padded out rehash of the Changeling. If you get down to it, but
Kind of. It's got some other ideas that aren't in the Changeling.
that's true.
Certainly, and it's. I would say it's a padded out episode that has its own unique stuff. It's not just a straight up clone of another episode, but it doesn't need to be 2.5 hours or feel like 5.
Right.
Yeah. But it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks real good. And then
If only we hadn't been thinking 2001.
I know.
I mean, but then you wouldn't necessarily have some of those great effects and matte paintings and stuff if we weren't thinking 2001. That's part of why that's there. It's just they just don't need to linger for 6 days on the screen.
And I felt like they're like look at all the special effects Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind had and stuff.
But
so
they
let's
also
just
didn't
throw the kitchen
mean
sink
to
in and do
to
everything.
make it go be that excessive
Right.
either. I mean, that wasn't intended.
Right.
Not initially, yeah.
I think it like ballooned out of control or something. Do you like the director's cut of the movie from 2002?
To be honest with you, that's the only one I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I saw the theatrical cut when I was a kid.
Right.
But that if memory serves, that director's cut is what is more widely.
Well, they have like 3 versions. They have that
Okay.
theatrical. They also have like a TV version, but the theatrical version, and then the one that was on home video.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like 2002, he released like a DVD of the movie.
Is that even different from like the 10-minute longer
and it
cut?
has,
Okay,
like,
then I don't know.
Yeah, it's like CGI. Like they changed some.
Oh,
special
really?
effects and
So
stuff.
does that make that? Well, that would make that then the first remastered Star Trek thing.
Yeah, I think it was, but it's not
Interesting.
been released on Blu-ray ever because I don't know if maybe it wasn't remastered in 2 or 4K when they did it or something. I don't know.
I can imagine mixing CG with that material.
It didn't look that good, I thought, but
So was it just an attempt at? I don't know why you would even try to monkey with those effects. They look really good, but like, was it just an effect of? Was it just an attempt at updating that,
well,
or was
and they
it?
also
Or did they
cut
add some scenes?
They added a few things, so they also cut like some of the flying through the entity, looking at it
Oh,
stuff
wow.
a little bit.
Well, that's good.
Like tighten things edit wise.
Is it better as far as
I haven't
a
watched
watch?
it in a really long time, so I don't remember.
Well,
if it's,
forgive me. I thought you were talking about that longer cut. I didn't realize I didn't realize that existed.
yeah.
Okay.
And, like the one thing they did was
There have gotten to be some really good fan edits of that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely that's a thing.
You know that shot of Spock on Vulcan, and you know how Spock said there's no moons on Vulcan and there's giant moons? Well, they did some like thing where they CGI'd over that, and they have like there's like those statue things.
Just trying to make it continuity.
Well, they made them like giant Vulcans with Lirpas and stuff instead.
Which is interesting because that comes back in Enterprise.
Yeah,
we have those statues, but I think the big Vulcan statue thing might have first appeared in TAS. I think.
Yeah.
I think they do them. I think maybe they do them there. I forget now.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
What's the name of that episode?
The one with the salad?
Yeah.
Or salad?
Yeah, and everything says, now it's a big salad that runs around and eats
How
things.
sharper than a serpent's tooth? Or
No, it's the city follow up. It's yesteryear. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you. I'm stuck on City Edge forever. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, yesteryear. That's it.
But and my next one, number 7.
I'm assuming that's Then Beyond.
That's gonna be Beyond. Yes, which I was, we had low expectations when we went to see it, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised by it and stuff. Definitely a lot.
Have you been again?
I have not. Oh, yes, I did go see it again.
I have seen it 4 times, and I have liked it more every time I've seen it.
Really? Yeah, I liked it the second time equally and stuff. Yeah.
I can totally see you still putting motion picture above it.
Yeah.
Partly because of innovation, I would imagine. Not to put words in your mouth, but also because you said it was really hard to pick which one you were going to put where.
Yeah. Okay, and my number 8 is Star Trek Generations, which
so now we're kind of getting into your bottom of the barrel, yeah.
It's kind of I mean, there's a lot of really stupid things in it, but there's also things I like in it. So I kind of had to rate it, kind of middle.
Yeah.
Of the road and stuff, I guess. It definitely feels like the most TV of all the Star Trek productions, like they just...
You mean in a bad way?
In a bad way. Like they just threw this together, which they obviously did. Didn't they go into production like a week after they wrapped or something like that? They just like, let's go make the movie now.
Well, and unfortunately, I gotta say this. I have gotten more and more down on All Good Things lately. That's an episode that Sarah hates, that I was really liked. I have watched it recently, and I've been noodling it and thinking about it, and I really think this is going to be fighting words for some people. All Good Things is a lot of fun.
Right.
I can't make heads or tails of that story.
Right.
And I really think that part of what happened to Generations was that they were still too much in the mindset of whatever weird mindset they were in when they wrote All Good Things. Right. And they just decided that it doesn't actually matter if the story makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I just think that's kind of the place we were in, that where it was more about like the disparate elements of we want to have, with All Good Things, we want to have a time travel thing because that's fun. We want to see our characters get old and also be young because it's the end of the show, so we want to make it about lineage, etc., etc. Yeah, here's all these cool disparate things, but we didn't find a really great way to rope them all together in a really good story. Mm-hmm. Generations has the same problem. Right. Wouldn't it be cool to have Guinan in a movie? Wouldn't it be cool to have Kirk and Picard on screen together? Right. Wouldn't it be cool to make this to make it like a follow up to the TOS movies and tie them together to that in some way? Yes. So all those disparate elements are there, but are they held together by a really good cohesive, believable story?
Bliss-inducing force field.
A bliss-inducing force field, precisely.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I just thought of that and wanted to share that. I believe we have All Good Things and season 7 in general partially to blame for what happened with Generations.
Right. And I want to say, I mean, there's like good performances in Generations. I think it's from Patrick Stewart and from William Shatner does a good job, I think, for the most part. And
their scenes together are really good.
Yeah, and
people that say that Shatner is acting circles around Patrick Stewart in those scenes, I don't think that's fair. I think they come up together okay. I think you might be responding to the material at that point, and that those are all about Shatner at that point.
Right, exactly. It's like it's his story.
I wish we had made a bigger deal out of Picard and Kirk getting to ride horseback together, because that's a thing they both like, or at least it's a thing Shatner likes. I don't know that we had Kirk riding horseback.
We didn't really know about that about him until that moment.
Until that moment, I think. I don't remember. I mean, Pike had horses, but
horses on Nimbus 3 in Star Trek 5.
Okay, but we don't know if that was a
horse.
Yeah, but so did everybody else. I don't know if he was like a horse enthusiast.
I don't know. He said he went with the horse to Spock. I don't know. Maybe he knew something. I don't know.
or maybe that was because but maybe he meant something else. But the thing is, I remember being a kid and thinking, oh, Kirk is a horse enthusiast, and Picard, for whatever reason, just happens to know how to ride. I hadn't seen Starship Mine, and if you haven't seen TNG, you won't watch that movie and have it. And if you know anything about Shatner, but not that show, you'll think, oh, okay, they're just on horseback because William Shatner likes to ride horses. Ultimately, that's probably the reason, but Picard is also a horse enthusiast.
Exactly.
He likes to ride horses. Why didn't we talk about that? We never talk about it.
Right. Well, then they also...
This is the thing they have in common.
Right.
It's really cool. Now, maybe it's supposed to be cool because it's subtle and they don't come out and talk about it. I think there should have been a discussion.
That's another thing. Speaking of Starship Mine, I find it hard to believe that Patrick Stewart, or Captain Picard, couldn't defeat Malcolm McDowell, who is like, he's not the biggest guy. He's not that super strong or anything. Like, when he got his ass kicked. I don't understand that.
And he needs Kirk just to, as Red Letter B, he says, punch a guy.
We already saw him act, in Starship Mine, and then later in all the other Next Generation movies act like freaking Bruce Willis
and what's so ridiculous about that is we always complain that Picard is an action hero in the movies. Mm-hmm. But we have, in the TV show, seen the intellectual Picard and the action hero Picard mixed in a completely believable way, or at least a more believable way than what they did there. Intellectual and moral and thoughtful Picard just completely falls away. But in Starship Mine, he's a total action hero. If you think about it, we have done this in a fun and arguably effective way with every Starship captain. Yeah. I love Macrocosm.
Right.
We did it with Janeway.
Exactly. She's
going around packing like a phaser rifle, and she's Bruce Willis in that.
Exactly. Or Ripley.
Ripley at that. You're right. Absolutely. I just to use your earlier reference, but you're right. She's Ripley in that.
Yeah.
Alien. Anyway, I guess we should move on.
All right, we're moving on. This one was a hard choice. I don't know.
Now it's just movies you don't like.
Either of them, so
now we're down to just movies you don't like.
Star Trek Insurrection. Mm-hmm. Because at least I like the people in the movie better than the next one on the list.
And it needed to be number 9 on your list, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, it was.
What?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Wow.
He didn't do that with everything. Although it'd be funny to see if that works out for anybody. If there's if there's anybody on the planet where their list of favorite to least favorite just goes in order. Yeah. I love motion picture. I hate Star Trek Beyond. And that gets funny because Star Trek Beyond used imagery from motion picture for their advertising. Yeah.
But yes, Insurrection. I mean, we've said a lot about it. It's
Can you imagine that person's list? Sorry, imagine that person's list. I mean, First Contact is. Generations is bad, but it's no First Contact. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe someone thinks that. That's fine. Go ahead.
I don't know. Insurrection. So many stupid things in that movie. I mean, them singing Gilbert and Sullivan, the not finished thing at the end where it's just blue screen.
Oh boy, yeah. And people have done fan edits of that apparently. I've not watched them, but I've heard that people have gone in and they've been able to make that look fine when they put something in the background. Because isn't it that they just lit it wrong, so they didn't think they could use the blue screen?
The details. Yeah,
There's just some reason they couldn't do. Yeah,
right.
All right.
Or they just cheaped out at that point, and they're just like, it's good enough, no one's caring.
Right, because chroma is so hard to do.
I know.
I mean, I get you got to put something back. At least you've got space backgrounds. Right, exactly. How expensive is that?
Damn stars back
just put stars back there. Yeah.
No one's gonna pay attention, but it looks better than the blue.
And now the yelling portion of the list.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
load.
There's some okay character moments in that movie. I mean, there's a lot of dumb things in that movie, but am I the only one that thought this is kind of random? You know the duck blind at the beginning?
Yes.
Does it look like PC mini towers that he's stacked? I mean, the way they made that thing.
I mean, now that you mention it, sure.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I don't know. I always thought it looked like that for some reason, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird movie too.
I always want to go back and rename that Who Watches the Watchers 2.
Yes.
Yeah, they really need to figure out how to do that right, don't they?
The duckling thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it never works. It seems like, or at least in the 2 times we've seen it, did not work.
Maybe your holographic technology just is not up to spec yet.
Right.
To do, yeah.
All right, number 10 is Star Trek 09, which I kind of enjoyed when it first came out, but as I watched it more and more, I'm like, this is really not so great.
So now we're to a place on his list that I just completely disagree with. I can't believe you put Insurrection over that movie.
You don't think so?
No, not even a little bit. But
maybe
anyway.
I should have put it up higher. I don't know.
It's okay. It's your list. You're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I just not feel it. You know, I'm not
feeling it. He's not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it.
Wish we had the signs out.
I don't know. It just seemed like, a cheap attempt to cash in on some nostalgia and stuff. Like, let's just reference every single thing that the general populace knows about Star Trek and just telescope it out so it's, to extremes and stuff.
And mix it in with a Star Wars aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the problem with that movie, but I think it's got a lot more going for it than Insurrection.
You might be right about that. I don't know. I just liked Insurrection was actually the characters I liked in it. But you might be right about story-wise.
I think 09... Well, I mean, 09 does not have a good story.
Right.
Insurrection...
Doesn't have a good story.
Doesn't make any sense. 09 has issues, of course, with its story and how much it makes sense, too, as far as just... affecting the later canon. It's whatever. I don't want to get into it.
Now, I will admit, I haven't watched Insurrection
but I really
in
like
a really long time, so I might be remembering it better, or it might be better in my mind than it is, or something.
You gotta at least give 09 cast, yeah?
I mean,
for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, and they've grown into their role, obviously, with Beyond and stuff.
Okay, anyway.
My next one is Nemesis. This is so...
Fair point.
So stupid.
Let's move on. No, I'm
Two movies back-to-back on your list that have a villain with no motivation whatsoever.
He's just bad, and he's got a big ship, and he wants to kill everything.
And he wants to destroy the Earth.
Kill everything.
I remember when 09 was announced, and we knew we were getting a Romulan bad guy. That Sarah was like, he better not be Shinzon all over. that better not happen. And then
it was Shinzon.
Kind of Shinzon all over.
I feel like they wasted Tom Hardy, for God's sake, with that movie.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like they wasted what's his face in 09. Yeah, I mean, I like Eric Bana.
Yeah.
All three of their villains have been like your big awesome actors you cast as over the top villains, right?
Yes. I think my favorite, most ridiculous moment of Nemesis is Picard's wedding toast, because it's just so out of character for him to be like that, joking around. And then I guess he does it around some, but I don't know. Maybe maybe it's loosened up a little bit
and said, "Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet."
You can't. All things are relative, right? That seems like the most normal Picard thing in the world before I can't wait to drive a dune buggy.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, and that was just because Patrick Stewart wanted to drive that.
I know
That's the entire
it's hilarious
scene within that movie. And then I
love Patrick Stewart, but dude.
And I really like their wedding, how it looked like they were in a Sears portrait studio. The background was just like, we're on top of a Mount McKinley here, having a wedding.
That's really... Well, maybe I'm... Well, and here, let's remember, it's not the wedding. I'm so confused. I guess the Betazords... I'll form that. The Betas...
Oh yeah, it wasn't a wedding. It was just a reception.
The Betazoids, I guess, have a reception before they have a wedding.
Yes,
because then they go to the bridge, and Worf's like, "I'm not gonna be naked." A warrior does not appear naked.
And
I would think that would be almost a natural Klingon inclination. I wouldn't think Klingons would be that.
Well, which episode was it? Was it Haven in season 1 where? Deanna was going to get married to that guy, but then he had all those weird dreams about that.
The other alien.
But they had remember they had that really awkward dinner before, and the guy kept hitting the thing and stuff the whole time. Yeah, so I think that must have been the reception.
Oh! Well, then why didn't they have to do that? It was like, ding!
They should have done that.
They should have done that.
I would have liked that scene more if they had done that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then what... Next,
it's just on Data's drum set.
Yeah, it's just a thing.
It's just it's just one of the symbols, one of the plastic space symbols.
Oh, don't.
He just keeps doing it on the drum set, and then later Data's like, "This is my gift to you."
Yeah. Okay, number 12 is Star Trek V. I mean, it's not a good movie. That's all I can say about it. It's
better than Insurrection.
Bad movie.
It's more fun to watch.
Insurrection?
Oh yes.
Really?
Oh yes. I will fight you with a Learbo over that. I will defend Star Trek V's honor over Insurrection and possibly other things that you're putting over it.
Even the 3-breasted cat woman.
That doesn't kill the movie. It's a thing that happens. It's not relevant to
the whole thing was weird.
But there's some great lines in that.
Okay, you might be right. Just for the campfire scene and stuff like that at the beginning, that was pretty good.
It goes over Insurrection this is also a thing that I get it. It's a thing that happens really quick in one scene, but it's part of a whole scene. It's not just 3-breasted cat lady. I would put that over Insurrection just for playing games with life. That's such a good line.
That's a good line.
I mean, what I'm saying is there's a lot of. You gotta give it the triad works in that movie, even if the story's
soul,
kind of stupid. Like the soul of that is there, and they get some nice downtime that they don't always get. I don't know. It's not a good movie, but I find it more watchable than. Maybe you're. Yeah, at least half of the TNG movies. I
haven't watched either of those.
I'll watch it before I watch Nemesis.
I'll watch it before any of the TNG films.
You're a bit of an extremist. But
I'm glad I didn't go first with my list.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish that you had. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh on it too.
Oh no, that's fair. And obviously, Final Frontier is a popular thing to hate.
Right.
That's not to say that you shouldn't have put it high. I'm just saying I think you might have put that as low as you did for the same reason you put Insurrection as high as you did. I bet you haven't watched it in a while.
I have. Yes, I have not seen either movies in a long.
And obviously, the three of us are going to have very different lists.
Yes, I do not mean to attack you. It's just fun.
With the exception of the first movie.
So I guess I do.
And then number 13.
Number 13.
Star Trek Into Darkness. Because I would rather watch a bad movie than one that panders to me for 2 hours and stuff.
I get that. I still. So Sarah and I did a video when the Vegas Star Trek convention got together and decided that like there was a big poll taken. And they decided that Star Trek Into Darkness was the worst Star Trek movie. And we made a video, and we were both really surprised by that. Yeah. And now, this is shortly after it came out, and I was more positive on it then than I am now.
Yeah.
I still don't see calling that the worst Star Trek movie. But I can totally see it being the one that you dislike the most. Yeah. I can see that. But, it at least... It kind of has a story.
As a piece of technical filmmaking, it is better than Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis and Star Trek 5. But I don't know.
But you wish it did not exist.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it one time too, so I should. Yeah, I
saw it in the interesting because I loved it the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I was just like, the hell with this movie when I loved it.
And I was wrong.
Yes, you were.
Oh boy, was I wrong. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my list.
And as I expected, the front of that's about what I expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, good job. Yeah. Sarah, do you want to do yours next, or should I go next? Do you want to go last? Because you're gonna be the big, extreme, crazy.
Maybe an extreme. I should not go last.
Mine is liable to be the middle road between you guys.
Well, my list will make people stop watching, or your list will make people, settle down and not try to, kill us. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should go next.
It's up to you. I give the ball's in your court.
Okay, so let me preface this by saying...
The Klingon gavel is in your court. That's you know what we call that? A mixed metaphor.
Yes.
It's in your glove. Go ahead.
So, I want to preface this by saying... I love the series.
I want to watch Final Frontier with you right now. So bad.
I love the television
You should be on the commentary
series,
for that.
But I don't like the movies very much, in general. So, my list is probably weird. But it starts out right. After a certain point, they just kind of tie for last place, but I still have them in order. Okay, so it starts with Wrath of Khan, obviously. And then Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, because that movie, totally underrated. It's a great movie. I could watch that one over and over again. Number 3, motion picture.
Number 3.
Love that movie.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is that partly because of our commentary? Because I
liked it before that.
I didn't think you had it quite that high at that point.
I
We
don't
found
know that
so much stuff in that when we did that commentary that we'd never noticed before.
Yeah.
And like that made me like it and get closer to loving it in a way I never.
Yeah, no, I
would have
like it
gotten
more
to if
every
we
time
hadn't
I
had that
see
discussion.
it. But it still would have been probably top 5 before that commentary.
Have I told you what we did with that? We thought it was going to be such a boring slog. Slog, but I'm going to say it like that. It's a schlog, CHLOG. That we played Star Trek Monopoly while we watched the movie on camera. Like, we put a camera over a Monopoly board. By the middle of it, we were having such an interesting discussion. The Monopoly game got real slow, and we almost stopped playing. So yeah, that was a really interesting experience. It is definitely higher on my list than it would have been if it hadn't been for that commentary. But you're saying you would have put it maybe there.
I would have put it top 5 even before that. I love it. Remember that?
So despite the pacing, or do you think the pacing is fine?
I think the pacing is a little bit slow, but you probably know better than anybody. I like boring movies.
She does like boring. Zulu.
Michael Caine?
Don't. And I couldn't tell you which actor is Michael Caine in that movie.
So I'm used to watching older movies with slower pacing. So
For the
yes,
record, me
Well,
too.
I've watched a lot of
Zulu
old
is an extreme.
I mean, I like old movies with slow pacing too, but I didn't like that.
Sarah,
so yes,
I love how you said it starts right,
yes.
but it quickly goes to a left field crazy direction.
You know,
I like motion picture too.
I warned you.
I don't like it third.
So,
I don't like it enough to give it a trophy. To give it a third place. It got a bronze. It's not bronze.
It's just happy to be here.
After motion picture, I have Voyage Home.
I give it the participation award, but
Voyage Home?
Voyage Home.
Voyage Home, okay. Is 4th on your list.
Mostly because that is pretty much the last of the really good movies.
I mean, yeah. If you're saying no, I know this about you. I'm reacting, even though I already know that you're like, just because it's still so funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, and then I have Star Trek Beyond.
This is the reason that we're doing this. 5th?
Yeah, I guess 5th. That was actually really quite good. I was surprised.
When we rank
She's
the
seen it
movies,
once.
we have to rank them against each other, not against the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not fair.
I'm excited you put it up that high. I think it's really
It's
solid.
really good. It has a good story. It kind of coalesces into a good plot, and I care about the characters, and I was drawn into the universe they created.
I'm mostly excited that she put that there because I want to watch that movie again. Like I'm so excited for that to come out.
Again. Yeah. And then after that, number 6 is Star Trek V: Final Frontier.
Oh, wow. Wow.
All right.
I'm thinking about what's not in my top 5.
Yeah. Look. I get that you don't think Undiscovered Country is as good as I do, but to put 5 over that is intentionally just trying to piss me off.
It's also true. I would rather watch Final Frontier
That is
than
like
Star Trek 6.
that is like early issues of Spawn shock factor.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. Yes, the movie's bad, but you go in and watch. You go in knowing it's like watching a B movie.
All right, go ahead.
I watch it for the triad. And then I have Star Trek 09.
I feel like we've got our own little triad right here, and I'm the middle of the triad. I'm Kirk, clearly, yeah. I'm gonna buy a gold uniform just because of this. Go ahead.
So 09.
Does that make you the Spock?
I don't know.
Am I married to Dr. McCoy?
Married to Bones.
Are you Bones?
I feel like the outsider of the group.
Would you go on a transporter?
No.
Oh, she's Bones.
She's Bones. If you were a man, would you grow a beard that long and then
No.
have like a
medallion?
with the
Looked like you
the
came
hippie
out of
medallion?
Studio 54. You looked like it was a disco. That was insane.
Oh yeah, I said it was like a disco medallion.
It
Yeah,
was like a leisure
I mean, I
suit.
do like the 70s, but I don't think
yeah. Sorry.
so. Futuristic leisure suit. So Star Trek 09. It's not great.
It's higher than I thought you would put it.
Well, that's because everything else is kind of tied for last. Then Undiscovered Country.
You put 09 over Undiscovered Country.
I did.
I gotta make sure that I did.
Mostly because Undiscovered Country, I cannot suspend my disbelief to actually believe that it's a movie.
I think you're too hard on that movie.
I can't
feel
watch the
way about
movie
other
as a
things.
movie.
Yeah, but I feel that way about other things on your list.
Okay,
that you
well,
put
I don't.
higher than it. Okay, but like you don't feel that way about Final Frontier?
No. I actually enjoy the adventure of it.
No, I get that, but you're buying the internal logic of
Yes.
it in that world. Yeah, that is. I
Yeah.
don't understand that.
But Undiscovered Country, it just...
I just feel like you have a different series of criteria for different places you're putting things on your list. Like,
Mostly movies I would watch again.
oh, okay, well, fair enough. Yeah. And to be fair, I had a really difficult time deciding what my criteria was. So.
Yeah.
What was your problem with believing Undiscovered Country? If I may ask? I'm just curious.
Let's see. Where
This
to
made
start.
more sense to me the last time I watched it with her.
Yeah,
You should
if
watch
you
this
watch
with her.
it with me,
It will kill
I
that
will
movie
point
for
out
you.
everything
gosh.
that's wrong with that movie. There are so many scenes that just fall apart, don't make sense. Like you mentioned the Uhura translating into
Yeah.
Klingon.
She turns into Plinkett
What
when you watch
a
that movie. man.
moron.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently these guys have never come across any foreign languages ever before in the history of Star Trek. So they're reading out of books and they're translating from dictionaries as they're like. So you're doing a border
in the
crossing.
23rd
Yeah, that was a
century.
You're
dumb
doing a border crossing, and you have to kind of think ahead and say what questions
Yeah.
are they likely to ask
Okay,
me.
Yeah.
but here's the thing.
And
we
have them
know-
prepared?
But we know that scene's dumb.
Yes.
But
It was a
give
cheap
him,
laugh.
but give
That's
him,
why
a,
they put
it's a
the
cheap
scene.
one, but give him another one because that's not killing that movie for him.
Okay. How about just Valeris? Every single time she's on screen, and if you watch that movie, there is. She doesn't realize she's involved until she's revealed.
It's like a 24 bad guy.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like she's right. I mean, I hadn't really
She
picked up on
will
that.
Alright.
but I
not.
was,
She
I
does
was
not
with her.
react
I've-
at all.
you're
Like
probably-
she's part of the conspiracy.
Well,
Until-
she is a Vulcan.
Maybe she's
No, but she's reacting problematically. Like
Maybe she's
it's
acting.
not. If you watch her reactions and you watch the lines of dialogue that she's given, and it's not.
Do you think the actress didn't know?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was the
I wouldn't.
actress or if it
Kim
was the
Cattrall
script.
probably did read the script.
So, but it's just the way she reacts. If she knew, she would not react that way. Even if she was trying to fake it, you would naturally fake it a different way.
I mean,
I think that's just because Kim Cattrall's a badass. So
I mean,
you
I
haven't heard
still
anything else?
no, I haven't. But also, let me say that I think you're right, and I never noticed that before, and that does really hurt it. But more than that, you write a different conspiracy if you've decided not to make it Saavik.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about that. There is
She
no
comes
reason.
out
Yeah,
of
they
nowhere. Why should we trust her? And
Right.
It needs to be
Yeah.
Saavik. You're right. I mean, there's
That
no
was
reason for us to.
yeah. I think that was Gene Roddenberry who was like, I don't want it to be Saavik or something like that. Yeah.
You know what's worse about the conspiracy for me?
why is there
Why is there a Romulan on the Federation
That's a good
Council?
point.
I wonder who it is.
And why are they
Maybe it's the
acting
Romulan?
together? So like, we're gonna
How's that
conspire together.
revealed? The Romulans involved. I'm so
We hate
surprised.
All right, you're right. It doesn't make sense. I've thought about it before. Yeah, because it's like we're gonna conspire together because we hate each other, so we can continue to hate each other for long. To keep this war going and stuff. I guess it's not like they're trying to keep it going for economic reasons.
That's a good point. I
I
didn't
mean,
even think of that.
they just didn't because they don't like each other. That's why they're.
It's-
I mean, and then like when they cross the border, why are there no Klingon ships? Why has
That's a
nobody
good
ever
point, too.
seen them?
I mean,
they
it's
could
another
have
thing though.
disguised
Where,
it, but they didn't have a cloaking device.
it's something there though where it's got
I need to rate
it's got
this
a lot
movie
of
lower.
it's got a lot of really good character moments.
It does.
I like some of what it does for the Klingons.
but none of what it
Um,
does for Kirk. And I explained that
I
last
know. It's. I'm with you with what you were saying with why you put it on your list. It is so hard for me to get past oh, cool, they did a story about the Klingons becoming allies,
Right.
because that feels like a thing that needs to be that seems like a period of history that needs to be filled in, and it's a big enough scale thing that it makes sense to do it in a movie.
Right.
But then obviously maybe there's some concept over execution there.
Yeah.
And the whole like firing when cloaked thing is genuinely a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it has some cool ideas. I just can't. It has enough bad ones that I can't actually pay attention to the thing
And I
that's
love
going
only
on.
Nixon goes to China, and I mean there's a lot of stuff in that I really like, but yeah.
Yeah, and I actually do like the Shakespeare quotes. I mean, I don't. Just
And
think that's
Christopher
dopey.
and Christopher Plummer's insane.
And I love the spinning around in
yeah.
the chair. That's awesome.
What's so funny is the stuff Sarah, like some of the stuff you like is some of the stuff that people genuinely or generally complain about.
Yeah.
Like people are like, God, shut up with the Shakespeare stuff. She doesn't mind that.
Yeah.
You don't even mind the whole like original.
I mean, Bones told him to
Shakespeare
shut
line?
up.
No.
In the movie.
That's true. No, you're right. Yeah. No, what he said was, I'd pay real money if you'd shut up. That's a great line.
Oh.
And also surgery on a torpedo. That's a really
Yeah.
great line.
Did you not like how Kirk was a bigot? Is that
No.
Oh,
It has.
a lot. Talk about the whole like your whole thing with how he shouldn't hate the whole Klingon Empire over what happened to David Marcus. Is that your thing?
Well, yeah, all through the series. So he's hanging out with Klingon. I mean, not hanging out, but like he's he's up against Klingons
Right.
for all these episodes that we see him. You know, him versus Klingons.
I mean-
They have a lot of interaction.
Right, but he might not be a perfect person, and he,
And
you
so
know,
one renegade Klingon who's not even with the Empire.
What she's saying is he's not
kills
making a
his
big deal out
son.
of how much he hates the Klingons before this.
Yeah.
well,
It just-
they murdered his kid.
Yeah, but it
But he didn't
shows
bring
up.
it up in Star Trek 5!
Yeah, it doesn't show
That's
up
true,
until
too.
this movie,
He did
just
say,
for the
well,
plot.
he did say you Klingon.
Yeah, in 3.
No, in 5, right before he gets beamed up. He's like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. I don't think I had anything to do with David
I
Marcus
don't know.
necessarily.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
just
know.
it just
He
comes out
wouldn't
of
like the
nowhere.
Klingon. And they still would be like a big Nemesis for him.
But
But
and maybe it wasn't so much the idea of him hating it. It was that he didn't want to, you know.
he says, I could never forgive them for the death of my boy.
Right. Well, I understand that, but I'm saying he also. I don't think the idea of having peace with them too. Maybe he could live with them.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying there.
I
Yeah.
could see Kirk. I could see them taking that arc in. Okay, we've been at war so long. I don't know how to be at peace with them. But
Right.
do it without
And-
painting them all with the same broad brush of you killed one of your race killed my
Right.
son, therefore I hate all of you.
Well,
because
that-
it just makes no sense, and
Well,
it just makes Kirk a lot less than
But
he
I
is.
think they.
I don't know if I go
but
quite
I
that
think
far
Kirk realizes.
because he would be seeing it somewhat as it's Klingon nature that would, because Kruge isn't. I mean, yeah, he's a renegade
He's a
Klingon.
renegade Klingon.
He's not that different from other Klingons that he's faced before. He's almost like an old Empire Klingon,
But,
right? Like,
yeah, but I will also say that Kirk, in the movie, I think he said that it was because of his son, but I think deep down it was because he was scared. He says that people can be very frightened of change. Like he was one of those people, just like everybody else in the conspiracy and stuff.
Can we all at least agree that's not a thing you say in your log? I'm just throwing that out
I mean,
there.
it was
Maybe you
it
should.
was a personal log. I mean,
Well, that's true, it
Cisco
was a
admitted
personal
to
log.
murder. Now he deleted it afterwards, but
But that was framework for the episode. Like as far as actually inside the continuity of your show
Yeah.
or of your movie.
Yeah.
Even in a personal.
also don't have the door open. That was the problem.
Yeah!
Why do you have the door open, you weirdo? Come
it
on
was
in, doors open. It's not like a
convenient, just so-
college dorm
Just so
here.
that Valeris can.
No, Kirk needed to have the speech at the end. Like insert Rocky IV speech here, where he's all like, "I can change. Everybody can change."
I can change! And it's better because at the end of 6, he hasn't gotten the life beaten out of him by an opponent that can punch at 110 miles an hour. Or more, I
Whatever.
forget.
It was.
He's a
past first
freight
word.
train. You can punch through metal. Anyway, I'm sorry. Can so
Okay.
We should have just done a whole show on Undiscovered Country.
Undiscovered Country, yeah. And then First Contact, because it's the best of the TNG films. And then Generations, because it's not. And then Star Trek Into Darkness, because I needed a place to put it on my list, and it kind of had to go above Insurrection and Nemesis.
Yeah.
So, but those three kind of worst movie ever.
And like things you would not want to have to sit down and watch again.
And probably will not.
Yeah. Okay, I'll run down mine real quick, because a lot of this won't surprise you guys. And so, honestly, okay, I'll preface mine too. So first of all, I found this to be somewhat of an arbitrary exercise. Some of this, I don't know how strongly I feel about my order. And I had the same thing that you did, where I get to a certain place and it's just, these are all not that good or really bad, and I don't, I could tie several of them for last place. I had the same thing you did. The other thing is, as Sarah and I have talked about a lot, and as she alluded to with her preface, I was realizing even more as I was putting this together, just how mediocre most of the films are, and how much I just don't love them as a series.
Right.
And obviously they're not a series, but you know what I mean. Putting all these together, there's only a couple that I think are wonderful, and Star Trek just works better on television. I think it can work great for films. We just haven't had that.
They all fall,
for the most part,
except for pretty much Star Trek 2. They all kind of have the let's make a movie out of a TV show syndrome and stuff, which never really works for the most part, I mean, think of like the X-Files movies. Those are really bad.
Not the first one.
The first one was okay, but didn't really advance anything. Well, nothing ever advanced in that.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, I've gone back and watched it somewhat recently. I think it's pretty good. But anyway. All right, number one on my list. Everybody say it with me. Wrath of Khan. Yeah. No way around it.
Right.
Number two is Voyage Home.
Yes.
Yeah. I love Voyage Home.
No.
And it's just really solid. There's not a lot wrong with that movie.
Right.
I don't think. Number three is Search for Spock, and I don't know how I feel about that exactly. I think story-wise and idea-wise, it's one of the better movies.
Yeah.
It is one that it doesn't stand alone. I mean, obviously, it's it being so much of a sequel to Wrath of Khan. It's kind of just furthering that story, and I think it's a little padded here and there. But some of the planet stuff I don't love.
Yeah.
But I like it more every time I see it. That's the thing with Search for Spock, and it's got some really cool cinematography, and I think Nimoy gets to do some stuff in that he probably wouldn't have even attempted if he wasn't hardly in that movie. So I like the ambition of that movie. Again, especially with the not huge budget.
Right. I think I might have flipped. Now that we've talked about Star Trek 6, I might flip Star Trek 3 and 6 on my list. I don't know.
Number 4, right now. And this could be a thing that changes down the line because it's fresh in my mind and because I just liked it so much. Beyond, right now, is number 4 on my list. I really like it. And part of it's because of what you and I both said in our preface. Star Trek Beyond is a movie about how Star Trek is supposed to be a TV show. Yeah. And a movie gets that, and that's exciting. And you're right. Those actors finally get to do some cool stuff with those characters, and they feel like those characters again to me. But like contemporized and updated in the right kind of way. And it is the real sequel to Star Trek 09. I submit that you would like 09 better if you watched it and Beyond back to back. I really kind of think that. That's what we keep saying anyway. But anyway, so then 5 is Undiscovered Country. I have a lot of the issues Sarah has with that, but again, the problem is after those first 4, none of the rest of the movies are really good. I mean, there's things I like about them. But like I think Undiscovered Country is the next one that is closer to a great movie, but then I'm starting to share a lot of the problems Sarah's got with it. She has ruined this movie for me.
I keep ruining movies for him.
I never thought about like punching my wife in the face, but then I'm kidding. And then the next one is First Contact, and I think I might actually even enjoy First Contact a little bit more than Undiscovered Country, but I think Undiscovered Country is a little more poignant. Certainly, because First Contact is kind of just a big action movie.
Yes.
But I like them both for similar reasons. In that both of them give us really important history stuff that you kind of need. I appreciate the First Contact part of First Contact. I think I think finally establishing that the Vulcans were who we had First Contact with is important. I don't think we actually knew that before that. It seems like
true.
the only thing that makes any sense.
Right.
But we finally confirmed that. I appreciate that.
Finally saw a little bit about World War III beyond just mentioning
but I don't even know if it was mentioned before that, was it?
Yeah, they mentioned a lot in season 1 of TNG.
Really?
Like
okay.
Off.
So we're finally building on that a little bit. Production values in that movie are top notch.
And
it's just
the score
such a good. The score is beautiful and a little tear-jerky in places. Yeah. I like that cast a lot. I like their take on Zephyr Cochrane a lot. The best idea in that movie is that our heroes are just people.
Right.
And that works splendidly. Right. It's a little weird going back to Metamorphosis after that, because you're like, well, that guy's putting on a show. He's putting a face on that guy. Yeah. I really like First Contact. It's another movie that has dropped a little bit for me the more I've watched it and considered the stuff that doesn't make sense. And First Contact becomes a problem because of what it does to the Borg and then the Borg and Voyager. Right. I would have loved to have seen what the Borg would have been in Voyager without First Contact. At the same time, Enterprise as a sequel to First Contact is kind of an interesting idea. I still don't think that we ever should have made a prequel show a time travel show. Right. But some of that, I don't know. I actually kind of like Regeneration.
Now, I will say that the Borg and Voyager would probably have been a lot cheesier because they reused like the entire set, everything from that movie. I know, yeah.
and I made that argument before, and I don't mean to make like things that happen retroactively the stuff that I'm reviewing with that movie, but you're using one of the big tentpole villains that everybody likes. You know this is going to affect the canon down the road.
Right, exactly.
If they ever decide to use the species again, and I wish that we had had more forethought and that we had been a little bit more responsible about that. You're not going to agree with this, but that's okay. My number, and like maybe I would flip these. My number 7 is 09. And then my 8 is motion picture, and some of that. See, like I was making fun of you guys for not having like the same criteria for where you're putting your movies, but I think my list has the same problem. 09 is a really fun movie with characterizations of those characters that I like. I just wish it had a story, and I wish it could decide what the timeline is. It's trying to make everybody happy at the same time. That's the problem with that movie. But if I'm thinking about just rewatchability, that's a movie that I go back to, and I think I do like it more because of Beyond. So I don't know. Maybe I would flip it in motion picture, honestly. But anyway, so motion picture for reasons that we talked about earlier. It's as low as it is just because of the slog.
And really, it's only slow at the beginning.
I disagree. I think it's really dull toward the end also.
Point, it really picks up.
I don't agree with that. Well, it's just toward the end, like when we get in the nebula, we're sitting there forever also.
Yeah, parked there.
It is a wonderful movie to analyze and write about. I don't think it's a really good experience. And I have to think about both of those things. I have to think about entertainment value and story and the science fiction ideas of the piece. I'd love to see the ideas of motion picture with the pacing of something more like Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Which I know is a different thing, but there's still, exploration in that. Okay, so then after that, we get into just bad movies. So Star Trek Into Darkness, And then Generations, because I still would probably watch Darkness. I still think Darkness has a better story than Generations. Pandering, yes. Just straight up redoing and flipping scenes and stuff, yes. Pretending like we're in the same continuity up to a point, but just completely reinventing Khan to be way, way less interesting drives me insane. But Pike has an amazing speech in that movie, and there is, and I like the idea of trying to do Section 31 in that universe and stuff. But anyway, okay, and then. So Darkness, then Generations. We've talked about Generations. Final Frontier, and again, I think Final Frontier is kind of in some ways more fun to watch than Generations, but I still think Generations has, I don't know if it's a better movie. I honestly don't know. But like I said, that's why I'm saying this is kind of an arbitrary. This was an arbitrary experience for me. And then it's Nemesis, and then it's Insurrection. I think Nemesis is just obnoxious.
It's
really
offensive.
doesn't make any sense, and it's a
It's
little
offensively
offensive.
bad.
You're right.
It's like so bad.
There's some really cool production stuff, production value stuff in that movie, and it's another movie with a great score. Nemesis has a fantastic score. Insurrection, I will go this far.
It's at least trying to be Star Trek. I don't think Nemesis knows what Star Trek is.
Insurrection feels like Insurrection is worse about that to me.
It's trying to be an episode.
No, but my thing is, it feels like, and it's weird because of who worked on it, but Insurrection feels like a thing trying to be a boring TNG episode, because it's like, we should finally do like we should finally do a Prime Directive thing. But then Picard is still an action hero.
Yeah.
And that movie, I could see people calling offensive for different reasons, famously, Patrick Stewart and maybe even some of the rest of the actors didn't agree with the characters' take on the politics of that situation.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll play it because you're paying us, but we don't buy this. We think that it's actually against the morality of these characters, and that's crazy.
Well, weren't there a couple actual TNG episodes where they came to the exact opposite conclusion?
Yes.
And removed the colonists?
Yeah. Yeah, and there was really no good reason not to do that there.
Yeah.
What? I'm trying to remember. In those episodes, it was like there's a natural disaster going to happen or something, wasn't it? But in this one, it was just like the Federation was in cahoots with some other aliens to strip mine this planet and stuff. So
I don't think they were.
They weren't strip mining it.
They were taking those rings, and it was gonna. I guess it was gonna. I mean, the planet would still be okay, but it would cause people to. What did it do? Did it cause people not to age?
Not to age, but I don't think. I'm trying to remember exactly what the situation. I can't sit here and review this movie. I'm watching it all the time. I don't like it.
Makes sense.
But yeah. Anyway.
I feel like they would have. They saw that the Federation was interfering, so maybe that's why. That's how I always justified what they did and stuff, because it wasn't like, we're already interfering here.
Well, that's true.
And stuff. We're gonna try to stop these rogue admirals or whatever. There's a lot of freaking rogue admirals.
That's right. There's a lot of that. Yeah. At some point, we should revisit Insurrection. I'm not prepared to talk about it. I don't no, really. Because I don't want to sit here and pretend like I remember exactly what the situation.
Yeah.
I just remember even in the theater thinking this is not what Picard would do.
Right.
And it also didn't make a lot of sense to me that the entire crew would go along with him on it. I feel like there would be at least a dissenter just because. Of the kind of situation it was, where it seemed like it felt like we're all going along with Picard, just because it is an argument, it is a moral quagmire. So it's kind of weird that it just feels like our main cast is all going along with him because that's what you do in the movies. So he's like in the movies, you have like a coup and you say to hell with Starfleet, and then everybody goes up against it, right? And I remember feeling like it wasn't that situation, and I didn't quite buy it. And it's also silly that they were already in planet costumes, ready to go down to the planet, having no idea what Picard was even doing. Anyway.
And I always thought it was really weird because you had this little colony of however many hundred aliens on a whole planet, and we were acting like we couldn't I mean, we needed them off the planet. Why? Couldn't you just establish a resort of some kind and have people come there for... How long were they on the planet?
That's the thing I can't remember, though, is that were they
Don't
trying
they
to
just-
take...
Was it going
But
to
that's what I'm
destroy
trying to
the
remember.
planet, or were they trying to take the rings? What was it going to... I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah,
I can't remember that, but that's the part I can't remember. That's why I said I don't want to talk about it anymore, because I don't remember that part.
Everyone who went on the planet, like, they were all immediately healed, and even Worf was going back through adolescence or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like, if you wanted the aspects...
By the way, when
of
that happened in All Good Things, it was a bad thing. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, if you want the regeneration aspects of the planet, just go there for a week and you're cured, and then let's leave.
If you'll
You don't
recall,
need
that
that
caused
much.
Ogawa to lose her baby.
Oh, in Genesis.
Yeah.
Or no, I think
Oh,
All
you
Good Things
you
had
mean
this.
when the... Oh, yeah.
And then,
Okay, I know what
but
you're
then,
talking about.
right, but then
I was
time was
thinking
reset and
about-
it didn't actually
I was
happen.
thinking about when she turned into a fish.
No, right. But remember, time gets turned back in that episode,
Yes, and she
so it
loses
ends up
the baby.
not actually. So it ends up not actually happening. But they did the whole everybody's.
Jordy's eyes came...
Yes,
stuff or
they did that in
something like
Insurrection also. Yeah,
Yes.
and so Insurrection
Weird.
also has a lot of stupid repeated things like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I honestly can't think of hardly anything in that movie I like. There's really there's almost nothing. The idea of the big reveal where the villain species is the good guy species the whole time is on paper kind of a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it that.
Yeah, we're
I didn't
the
care
same
about those
species.
guys.
Yeah.
I liked it. I like that Beyond kind of does the stretchy face thing again, and I liked it. I mean, with the species that I like. Kind of, it's not exactly the same thing, but anyway. Well, like I said, I'm not married to this list. I found this to be kind of a difficult exercise, honestly. I feel like if I made this tomorrow, it would be a different list. So I don't know, but we tried. But you guys seemed a little bit more certain about your list until he started listening to people talking about Undiscovered Country and motion picture.
Yeah.
Because you said maybe that would rise a little bit.
Oh, I said I was going to put Star Trek 3 as third.
Oh, 3, that's right.
Yeah.
You did say that, yeah. So if we didn't budge you on motion picture.
I don't know.
We didn't budge you. Anyway, well, we would love to see other folks' lists. What are your least favorite Star Trek movies? I'm sure there will be lots of interesting discussion in the comments. We will try to be back with you again soon for another one. Guys, we are down 2 episodes of Star Trek Continues. We are so behind. We've not reviewed the last 2 of those, so we'll come back hopefully soon and try to do those. And in the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And we'll see you again next time.